Okay, serious question. Have you ever tried to fold a fitted sheet? You know those sheets that go over your mattress that have like the curved, kind of things. I mean, have you ever really tried? You know what I'm talking about. That awkward dance where you're trying to match the corner to corner, but somehow end up with this lumpy bundle that looks nothing like the neat rectangle that you were aiming for. And no matter how many YouTube tutorials you watch, and trust me, I have, it still comes out looking like you just crumpled it up and called it a day. Well, you know what's interesting? That messy, imperfect bundle of sheet, believe it or not, it tells a story. It tells a story of nights spent dreaming, of morning sunlight filtering through your windows, best time of day, or just the comfort of crawling into bed after a long day. It's actually early morning right now. It's really overcast, and I would love nothing more than just to crawl back into bed. But even in this sheet's wrinkles and uneven folds, there's life. It's real. It's authentic. And this sheet is part of a story that's so layered. I mean, let's be honest. Have you ever heard anyone romanticize a fitted sheet as much as I just did? But this really got me thinking about how often we try to smooth out all of the wrinkles in our lives, to fold everything into perfect corners and these neat edges. But what if, and stay with me here, what if the messy parts, the uneven folds, the wrinkled edges of our lives, what if they're not flaws to be fixed? But what if they are rather the very things that make our story worth telling? Today we're going to explore what I like to call the beautiful mess theory. The idea that our imperfections, our chaos, our beautiful disasters, they might actually be the most interesting and valuable parts of who we are. I'm Chad Lawson, and let's calm it down in 3, 2, 1. So you guys know I love science because I don't want to just talk out of thin air. But Harvard and the University of Virginia, they made this fascinating discovery. They found that people who show their vulnerabilities, who let others see their messes, if you will, they are actually viewed as more relatable, more authentic than those who maintain a perfect facade. I mean, right? Does this resonate with you? They called it the beautiful mess effect. I'm not joking. You can look this up. I mean, isn't that amazing? The very things that we try to hide might be the things that draw others to us the most. I mean, think about it. When was the last time you really connected with someone who seemed perfect? I mean, really connected, like heart to heart. It's usually when we share our struggles, when we admit our mistakes and let others see our real selves, that we build the strongest connections. Here, let me show you. Close your eyes if you are in a safe space to do so. Picture your life as a bookshelf. Now, some shelves are really neat and they're very tidy, right? Everything is in order with books arranged perfectly by size or by color, if that's your thing. By size or by color, if that is your thing. These are the parts of your life that feel under control, like really organized and figured out, right? But then there are the messy shelves, the ones where books are stacked sideways and notes and trinkets are wedged in between. And of course, the dust has settled and all of these forgotten places, right? Now ask yourself, which shelf do you gravitate towards? Which one holds the stories that you love the most? Which ones shaped you? Which ones feel the most real? Because a lot of times in those messy shelves that catch our attention, right? They spark our curiosity. They spark our creativity. They feel real. They feel lived in, and they feel like us. The same is true in our life, right? But here is where it gets tricky. We live in this world, not to be overstated, but of Instagram, of filters, and of carefully curated social media feeds. We are bombarded with how we should fix ourselves, how we should organize our chaos, how we should smooth out our edges. And while there's nothing wrong with growth and self-improvement, sometimes we get so caught up in fixing our mess that we miss how beautiful it is. In music, in jazz in particular, there's a theory that there are no wrong notes, just opportunities. So as a jazz pianist, I'm speaking for myself personally, if I made a mistake, if I hit a note that was like obviously a mistake, well, the theory is to repeat it, like lean into it, like make it like, yeah, I meant to do that, right? It's not about faking it until you make it. It's about being so secure in yourself to say, yeah, I meant to do that. And then you just keep playing it, the note over and over again, as if it was intentional. And sometimes it's those so-called mistakes that lead to something even better, something unexpected that you never would have found otherwise. But taking just a mistake or something messy and just owning it and just saying, you know what, I'm going to embrace this and I'm going to see where this takes me. But how? Like, how do we do this? How do we start embracing our beautiful mess? Well, first, no judge, right? No shade. When life feels super messy, we have to resist the urge to fix it or to critique it the right way, right away. So instead, take a step back. Just look at it. Look at the bookshelf, right? What's happening? How does it feel? When we take a step back and look at things without judgment, imagine that you are a curious detective. You're gathering clues about your life without assigning blame or trying to solve a case. You're just kind of noticing. And then we want to reframe the mess. Think about how the so-called chaos in your life has actually helped you when you least expected it. Maybe one day you got lost and it led to a really unforgettable detour. You saw a sunset, you saw the ocean, you met someone that otherwise you never would have met. I mean, has your flexible approach ever created space for meaningful connections, right? So start jotting down those moments, not as a mess journal, but as evidence that life doesn't always have to follow a direct path, doesn't always have to follow a script to be meaningful. And then third, this one's really important. Let someone in. Choose a safe person to share a piece of your story with. Not the polished, not the social media worthy version with filters and, not mentioning all the other stuff, but the real stuff. And start small, right? Be safe. Maybe it's a recent memory when things didn't go as planned, or a mistake that you learned from. And watch what happens when you allow someone to see the real you. A lot of times in those moments, they create a sense of connection that wouldn't be found if all they saw was perfection. Now, let's be honest. I'm not saying that we should glorify chaos or that we should avoid decluttering. There is a purpose in that. But this beautiful mess theory, it's not about letting everything fall apart. It's about finding the balance between acceptance and evolution, right? Between embracing who we are and becoming who we want to be. The Japanese have this really wonderful art, I guess is what you would call it, called kintsugi. If I'm mispronouncing it, I do apologize. And if you know how to pronounce it, please drop me a note and let me know. But kintsugi, Kintsugi, and you've probably seen it. Like, imagine a bowl that has cracks. And instead of like trying to hide the cracks, or that you don't throw it away, they don't try to just pretend it's not there. They actually highlight the cracks. So they take gold and they actually fill in the cracks with gold, right? So it's highlighted, it's celebrated, and they turn it into something really beautiful. And so your mess, your struggles, your failures, your imperfections, these are the gold seams in your story. So here, I have a challenge for you this week. I always have a challenge, you know that. I want you to choose one thing about yourself that you've been trying to fix, or maybe hide. Maybe it's your tendency to cry easily, or your unorganized kitchen or house, or just a workspace, right? Or maybe, it's the way you think, right? Maybe you're impulsive and you're trying to always hide it, or the other way around. Maybe you are super internal processor like me, and you sometimes feel guilty, and so you try to pretend that you can just come up with things really fast. But for this next week, until the next episode, instead of trying to change it, I want you to look for its hidden gifts. How might this mess actually be serving you, or even others? What beauty, what gold seam might be hiding in this chaos? Take it for the next 7 days. Write down what you discover. I'd be willing to bet that you'll find some treasures that you've always looked at as trash. Because I want you to realize something. Like that bowl, like the Japanese art bowl, you're not broken. You're not. You are uniquely whole, with all of your intricate layers. Your mess is not a mistake. Your mess is part of your masterpiece. Those uneven edges, those wild patches in your garden that you have, those wrinkled corners that won't quite smooth out, they're all part of what makes you unique and just wonderful. You are not broken, and your mess is not a mistake. Your mess is part of your masterpiece. So going back to our fitted sheet metaphor from earlier, yes, I'm still trying. Maybe the goal isn't to achieve that perfect fold. I know, but let it go. Maybe the goal is to appreciate the story that's told in those wrinkles, to find comfort in the imperfect bundle of it all, and to see the beauty in the mess. Thank you. Thank you for listening. Thank you for living. And until next time, be kind to your mind and join me again as we calm it down. To find more episodes of Calm It Down, see where I may be appearing in your area, or just simply want to know where to send me some chocolate chip cookies, visit calmitdownpodcast.com. This podcast was written and produced by yours truly, Chad Lawson, composer, pianist, and nationally recognized Sweet Tooth. The views, expressions, and techniques in this episode are of my personal opinion and not intended, nor should they, serve as a substitute for medical advice or diagnosis rendered to you by your individual doctor or other healthcare provider. Only a licensed physician should evaluate your situation, provide a diagnosis, or render other medical advice to you, and you should only act upon the advice of this physician. Now, I'm an extreme empath by nature, but my profession is that of a composer and pianist, not a licensed therapist or physician. I hear from thousands of listeners how my music has helped them through various stages of emotional needs, and I simply want to offer this in future podcast episodes to aid those needs. So to find a list of licensed professionals in your area, please visit calmitdownpodcast.com. And if you've enjoyed today's episode, please leave a review, or better yet, share it with a friend. While it takes less than 60 seconds to do, its impact will last for years to come, as every little bit helps in growing the awareness and the importance of mental and emotional health. Thank you for listening. Thank you for living. And until next time, be kind to your mind and join me again as we calm it down.